All right, look. So we got Why You're Smart But Not Successful by Rowdy. I'd assume that's how you pronounce it. Rowdy. Um, this is a good topic, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. This is an amazing topic, amazing choice. Man, for my brain mainly, because I'm gonna be honest, I like this idea of just like perspectives. Like I like looking at different perspectives and seeing how like people look at things differently. Because even so, it's like my own. I feel like sometimes things will happen and I'm like, I don't want to be caught in my ego or whatever's left of it. If there's any. Like, you feel me? There's this sense of like, yo, I'm not always right. I'm not always, that type of thing. But with this, it's like, recently I started getting into just like speakers, right? And the way they spoke about how successful people operate and move around the world and how their own mind thinks is so interesting. It's so interesting to me. So it's like, taking these principles, these rules and ideas of how they structure their life and everything and just applying it to my own life. And, carry that sort of attitude and mindset. Of course, it's not going to be already set in stone. Like, I'm already in that mindset. Like, no, it's a gradual progress. And that was something that they also said. It's a gradual progress. You're not going to automatically be an overnight success. And if you do, it's going to be short-lasting because you still haven't developed yourself in the way that you need to be. Like, a good example was lottery winners, right? Lottery winners and what they do with their money. Because if you take someone who knew about money, knew about how to use your money, how to put your money, how to invest, all that good stuff, they're going to be good. But the average person is going to go back to what they're used to living with. Whether that's, they said it as a temperature. Some people are freezing, meaning they're living well below well over their means, And it gets me thinking, it's like, how is my brain set? How much money is my mind set to? And it's always a good question because it's like, the more you understand yourself, the more you can learn and do and grow. Because, of course, I'm just talking about money. I'm talking about the bread, the paper, I even think it comes as like personality, relationships, philosophy, all that good stuff. I don't know. Let's see what he's talking about though. I just had to get that off
The
my
biggest
mind.
scam that you've been sold is that your addiction is the reason that you're not successful. The most common one I've seen is the hub addiction. I mean, look at this guy. He's made like 4 videos about quitting. He just knows it's an infinite view glitch and that his viewers think that if they stop watching adult content, all of a sudden they're gonna become successful. People channel all of their weaknesses through one insecurity and think that if they quit, all of a sudden all of their problems are...
I'm not gonna lie, that's a good thing too. Not a good thing, but a good idea. How much of your life do you put into your insecurity? Or how much of your problems and challenges do you put into your insecurity? Because 9 times out of 10, yes, it'll definitely help your life. It's like, but that's not the end all be all. Because like, take me for example. There was in the past, I didn't really like talking. I didn't like being open in a sense, or asking people for things. Like, let's say it was to ask help for I'm looking for something, and I did not like asking for help. I'd just rather thug it out and spend more time trying to look for it than the 10 seconds it would have just cost me to ask. I didn't like that. And I'm gonna be honest, there was one time I got real upset because I didn't want to do it. So it happened, and I got in my own mind, I'm like, yo, I did not like that at all. I have to change that. I have to change that for the better or worse, because that was terrible for me. I did not like that. And I did, it started off slow. I just say, hello, how are you doing to grocery store clerks or just people, cashiers, things like that, and kind of just be comfortable with people. And over time, now I'm mainly good. Like, I'm good. I can just talk. Not saying I'm outgoing, extrovert, nothing like that, but I'm able to just hold a conversation. But it was really just something that I just couldn't tolerate no more. Like, I think that is the first step. How much can you tolerate it for? Because you just tolerate it, you let it pass, and it has to come to a point where you just can't no more. You can't live that same way. You can't have that same mindset. You can't do that same exact thing, because it stops you from growing. It stops you. It hinders you. It changes, so you can't even grow as a person. And that was something I had to take accountability for. I did not like that. I asked myself, I'm like, yo, you're tweaking. You're tripping. Realistically, that's how it was. I was like, yo, you're tripping for that. And it was a gradual change. But I don't know. It's always good to overcome things you don't like. Always. I'm not going to doubt that. But don't put all your problems in one basket type of thing. Like, don't base your whole life, every failure on one little thing. Oh, I made this mistake. My life would have been so different if I did this. Like, no. Continue living your life. You're still awake. You're still breathing. Even I myself have to think this. Like, something will happen, a challenge or problem will occur. I'll solve it and I'll just cling to it for a bit. Like, my mind will cling to it, but I have to let it go. I genuinely have to let it go. Because clinging to the idea of what I could have done better is always good. It's always good. What could I have improved for the next time? But at a certain point, it just becomes useless. Like, it doesn't help no more. You've already done all the work you could do. Move on.
To be salt. I can't talk to girls because I have low confidence because I watch too much corn. I don't have the energy to work out because I obliterate my sausage 5 times a day. I can't focus because of it.
Yo, I mistook what he was saying so bad. He's talking about beating his meat, and I went on a whole motivational speech, bro. I'm sorry, I misread that, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I did not.
All my problems stem from this one thing. And self-improvement creators know this frame of thinking and exploit it to the max, which is why there's 5 million videos about quitting corn and very few about taking active steps towards your goals. Because you want to know the brutal truth? Your addiction isn't the problem. You have a skill issue. Sure, of course you shouldn't abuse adult content, nicotine, food, material possessions, but just by quitting those things doesn't mean you're all of a sudden gonna become successful. And this is extremely easy to prove. All I need to do is point at successful people who openly have addictions, and I know and you know plenty of unsuccessful people who have no such vices. Kanye West self-admittedly said that at the age of 5 he found one of his dad's dirty magazines and was addicted from that point on. Now, the fact that that happened was a bad thing, but even—
I'm sorry, 5? 5 being addicted to explicit images, right? That's crazy. I did not know Kanye said that. You can get addicted at 5? Brother, I was not introduced to it I was actually in elementary. I got introduced to it in the worst way possible. I'm not even gonna lie, I got introduced to it, but Deji showed me one of the channels on TV. Boom, that was there. And then I think a few months later, a year later, it showed me 2 Girls, 1 Cup. Horrific, traumatizing memory. Don't look it up. Don't look it up. But I didn't know you can get addicted that early to it. Like, what? And the thing is, when I saw it, it was like, I saw it, I was like, huh? I was flabbergasted. I was bamboozled. I was confused. But I didn't do nothing with it. I didn't goon. I didn't do none of that. It never clicked in my mind to do that. Like, my primate brain did not think of that. But That's
And
crazy.
despite
I
the
didn't know that was
addiction,
like,
Kanye
that
West
was
became
possible.
one of the greatest and most influential musicians and fashion designers in the world. You should quit or drastically reduce the amount of adult content that you watch, but even if you can't, don't act like that's the reason that you aren't achieving your goals. You could wake up at 5 every morning, take a cold shower, meditate, have your coffee, and get sunlight in your eyes like Andrew Huberman, but
You know what's crazy? What I'm realizing with goals in life and like becoming successful, quote unquote, is like once you know your goal, you start moving in a way that goes in tune with it, in line with it. And then, you know, it may not seem like it in the current day, the current moment, the current week, the current month, but over time, it's like that success is happening. You basically are successful for doing it. You said you want to do this, you're doing it. You're successful in that sense. But also, it's like one problem is should not stop you. One addiction should not stop you. It really shouldn't, if we're being honest. Now, can I say that for everything? Because some are worse than others. I'm not gonna lie. Some are just like you need it, or you could possibly pass away. Like that is, you need to seek help in a sense. So I don't know. I'm not trying to speak on addiction. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not certified in any way for that. I'm just giving my own thoughts and how I've just experienced life. So, but I was gonna.
You aren't directly working on the tasks that are relevant towards your goals, you're completely wasting your time. The funniest thing is you're gonna get beat by the guy who wakes up at 11, obliterates his Johnson while watching Lana Rhodes get quad stuffed first thing in the morning, hits his grapefruit flavored cancer box, but then actually gets to work on what he needs to. You have it backwards. You think that you aren't achieving your goals because of your addictions, but you get addicted because you aren't actively achieving your goals. You feel
hold on, he's cooking. He's actually cooking. But that's actually crazy. That's a crazy switch right there. Hold on.
You have it backwards. You think that you aren't achieving your goals because of your addictions, but you get addicted because you aren't actively achieving your goal.
That's crazy. That's such a good perspective, bro. That is such a good perspective, bro. Because it's like you got way too much time on your hands. So guess what you do? The most stimulating thing possible. Goon. Or whatever your form of distraction, addiction, quote unquote, is. Like, that's crazy, bro. That's such a good way to put it. Because if you were really focused on your goals, if you were really about what you're saying, if you're really, walking the walk, talk the talk, saying all this, like, you would do it. You would just be too busy to even put your mind on that. And I'm not gonna lie, my own personal experience, that's how I feel. Like, it's not on my mind. It's not on the forefront of my mind because I'm constantly doing something. I work, I get home, I eat, I play soccer, for the most part. Like, that is a regular routine. I have a routine for myself. So something like that can't even pop in my mind. I don't have the time or energy for it. So it's really looking at like, yo, how are you structuring your life, gang? Like, how are you structuring your life? Spending 8 hours on TikTok. You see some on Twitter. Forbid like you actually use Twitter, bro, or X. Like, please don't use that, gang. That is just like, where do you even start? where do you even start, bro? But like, take a look at how you're living your life, bro. Like, is it in line with your goals? Because if you know your goals, if you know what you want to do, are you living to make steps towards that? Like, let's say I wanted to, let's take me for example, right? I want to be a YouTuber, popular YouTuber, I guess you can say. Like, I genuinely want this to work out. Of course I do. What would it take for me? It would take me uploading, recording. Now I have to make a plan. How much do I want to record? How much time do I want to put into it, right? For me, I want to at least post once a week, one video a week, some shorts, if I can. And I have to go out of my way to make time for that. I have to go out of my way to make, time to edit, time to record. And yes, for my side, it's a lot easier because I just watch a video and boom. So yes, but in doing so, it is taking me away from having this time to goon or smoke or do something. I'm focused on what I need to do. And that's not including more hobbies and more things you pick up along the way or want to do. Because I play soccer. I spend like 2 hours every day playing soccer, basically. Unless it's my one rest day. Like, bro, I work. Because I'm not going to live off dreams, bro. I got bills to pay. It is not a dollar in a dream, bro. I got bills to pay. So I got work. I got 2 jobs, actually. One's kind of just like part-time, though. So it's like trying to find a balance in order to sustain myself. End of story. Look at your life, bro. If you are really about what you're saying, your day-to-day.
You feel guilty that you aren't going to the gym or studying or writing or practicing, so you fall back on what gives you comfort. And you think that falling back on what's comfortable is stopping you, but really it's the inaction towards your goals. Because if you were actively working towards your goals, you would have less time to think about your addiction, and therefore would relapse less often. But the fundamental flaw with modern day self-improvement is that it constantly teaches you to think about your addiction. You have to constantly be cognizant of how long it's been since you last busted. In these support groups, the first step is to admit, I am an alcoholic. I am a drug addict. You have to constantly associate yourself with your addiction and let it take up space in your mind. But the simple cure that no one will tell you is to find an environment and a pursuit that's more fulfilling than your current state and addiction. Constantly watching videos about how to quit watching the hub will never make you permanently quit, and more importantly, will never make you get closer to achieving your goals.
And that's the thing. I want to put it in another perspective. It doesn't have to necessarily be gooning. Take like sports, for example. You know, I play soccer for the fun of it. I accepted the fact I am not going pro, bro. I accepted that. Like, I play for the fun of it. Because I started mad late. I started at the age of like 20. I started playing soccer for a Sunday league team. I was buns. I was trash. I actually garbage, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I was horrible. First time, I remember my second or third game in, bro, I got an ankle injury and I was out for like 3 weeks. Like, that was sad. But past that point, I'm like, yo, I hate being trash. I genuinely don't like it. So I practiced. I put my mind to it. And the thing is, it would have been one thing if I was constantly only looking up the best way to train, the best way to improve for soccer players, the best way for beginners to improve. I probably did do a bit of research, but guess what? The action made the difference. I started training. I started doing the things I needed. I bought the equipment I needed, cones, a ball. I remember I was playing on concrete, basically. It was like the road where we'd park our cars. That's where I'd play. I didn't have no net. I didn't have no grass. I didn't have nothing like that. I just used that small little space and did some drills. That's how I made it work for me, and I improved. I'm so much better now than when I first started. And does not mean I'm done training or anything like that. I want to be the best I can be, you know. But it's just to say, it's like saying and doing are two completely different things. Because at the end, watching a video is watching a video. It's not necessarily doing anything for you. All you got is information. You're not executing, bro. All you got is information, and if you don't execute,
you're not taking any sort of action, and all you're really doing is spending more time concerning yourself thinking about your addiction. Constantly thinking about your addiction is literally just going to make you more likely to relapse. And what you don't understand is that your addiction is not the reason that all of your problems exist, and that quitting your addiction will not magically solve all your problems. You think that you can't talk to women because you're addicted to watching the hub, but that's wrong. You can't talk to women because you don't know how. And the only way you'll learn how is through talking to them even when you're nervous or don't know what to say. And like with any skill, you'll only get better through talking to more women and understanding what communicational triggers will make them like you or not like you.
Yo, you really gotta think though, the people who are the most experienced, you know, the most I guess have the most game, I guess you could say, is like I'd like to say they probably have been rejected more times than you've approached a woman. Significantly more, bro. There's a reason they're that good. That sounds like lays almost, I'm not gonna lie, but you feel me? It's like there's a reason why they are able to talk to people. Like, it doesn't even have to be necessarily women, just people. You know, there's a reason they know how to flow a conversation, to you know, create connections and all that. Repetition. They've probably been rejected so much more times than you've ever talked to someone. So it's like,
everything I just said were actionable steps, and none of it has to do with quitting your addiction. You could be in your mom's basement gooning 5 hours a day, but as long as you can strike up a conversation with a random girl at your school, college, or workforce without being weird, that's all that matters. And funnily enough, you're actually ahead of the guy who's on a 100-day no-fap streak, but still doesn't have the courage to talk to a random girl. Action is quite literally the only thing that matters, and you can spend all this time on mindset, but it's ultimately pointless if it doesn't lead to anything. I mean, we literally admire addicts because their success is not in any way inhibited by their addiction. How many people we all know and love are addicted to women, pharmaceuticals, and especially gambling? Michael Jordan was able to be the most famous person on the planet, an international sports superstar, and dominate the NBA for a decade while also being a crippling gambling addict. It doesn't really seem like his addiction stopped him from doing much. Dana White, regardless of how you feel about his politics or ethics, he quite literally created a sport in the West. I can't think of another sports commissioner who's as integral to their organization as he is to the UFC. And he was able to accomplish all of that while self-admittedly being a degenerate gambler. It's not mutually exclusive. Being an addict is not going to stop you from achieving your goals. Your addictions are not the reason that you're not successful. You're not successful, so you become addicted to make yourself feel better.
Amazing video. Oh, yo, we gotta watch that next video. These 6 minutes will delete your social anxiety. That's probably next up. I'm not gonna lie. We might need to watch that. Aside from that, amazing video. I'm not gonna lie. Amazing video. I feel like this is like the videos I truly just wanna react to. Or, you know what else I want to react to? I'm not even gonna lie. The like scary videos and things like that. Or like the police chases or like police stories. Those types of things. Like, that is something that I find interesting. They're just so long, bro. And knowing me, holy, bro, I'll be stuck there for 2 hours. Like the police ones, I swear they're up 40 minutes alone, the video itself. Me talking, oh, I'm cooked, bro. I am cooked. Now, the creepy videos, they can be like 10 minutes. Who knows how long that'll be.